I want to go forward and provide you guys with incredible value so you guys actually know how to build your business properly, how to scale properly, and how to have an actual true foundation built in your business without allowing yourself to be prone to massive volatility or inconsistencies, right? And you'll experience volatility and inconsistencies in any business you start. But with the systems and guidelines and walkthroughs I have for you guys today, you'll be definitely able to see less of that as you move forward and have more of a systemized and structured approach as well. One of the most important things when you're developing your business, like we always talk about, okay, is starting with the true foundation, okay? Like we always say, okay, the foundational approach, the start of algorithmic targeting, okay, step one of launching your business, okay, is going to be super important for a few reasons, okay? Algorithmic targeting, aka step one, is meant to get you actual consistency and a real foundation built immediately as you start running your ad traffic. What's important that you have to realize here is that the reason we use algorithmic targeting every single time is because of the budgeting, okay? Don't think that you need to be starting with $10 budgets or $25 budgets or $100, $500 budgets to start off your testing, okay? Or to continue forward with remarketing a product that you already know is doing well. Quite frankly, one of the biggest things I want to really bring up to you guys, okay? I've been getting a lot of questions about this over the last few weeks as well, is Justin, should we go ahead and have a more aggressive budget when starting our testing, okay, to actually beat the competition and get better results? You know, people think by spending more, you'll be able to get better placement in the auction, etc. when you first start off, okay? And sometimes with a higher budget, you'll be able to go ahead and obviously, you know, spend more, okay? But, you know, that's why you have a higher budget, is to spend more, but you're not always getting the best return. Okay, you're not always getting the best return, especially when it comes to terms of actually getting proper cost per acquisition, okay, and, you know, getting good KPIs when you first start off. The whole goal, ladies and gents, okay, of starting at $5 is to go ahead and scope out the audiences that are particularly doing well or the audiences that are particularly doing a bit poorly, and to not be spending too much money on them. Okay. And just like Carly said as well, it encourages Facebook to give us lower actual CPMs or KPIs, right? When you start off with a lower actual budget, a lot of the time you'll have higher ROAS, okay, and you'll have lower cost per acquisition. Okay, starting off with lower budgets is going to get you that lower cost per acquisition, cost per purchase, okay, rather than you using $10 and spending more and getting a higher cost per acquisition. Okay, lower spend and lower budgets in the early phases of testing is going to help you out to save more money and get better return on ad spend as you begin. Keep that in mind. It's super, super important, and exactly why we use it, because you're actually going to get better results when you start testing with lower budgets, because you can read the KPIs more clearly, okay, and you'll be spending less money, because what's going to happen here is if you're spending more day to day, you're going to be pushing through the 3-day rule too quickly and killing audience too quickly as well. Okay. Whereas if you're starting on $5 budgets, you're going to be getting the same, almost the same KPIs, but you'll be getting lower cost per acquisition because you're slow cooking longer rather than letting a high spend too sporadically, too quickly, and not getting you the proper results. I've tested $5 compared to $10 in algorithmic targeting for a few years now, okay? And $5 works better almost every time in terms of profitability and ROI. Okay, sometimes you get an extra purchase or extra sale or extra purchase throughout a few days of running a higher budget, but you won't always have that higher actual return on ad spend because you're having a higher cost per acquisition. So first question we got of the day, we got $5 ad set times 11 ad sets means $55 a day. Is that correct? Phenomenal breakthrough. And yes, that is correct. But let me go ahead and walk you through a bit more further so you can actually understand what this really means. Okay, when you start off with, and by the way, guys, you can find this PDF in our BSF group in the file section for free. Okay. As you start off with algorithmic targeting, okay, you're going to be running 11 audiences on $5 a piece. Okay, but what's important here, guys, is you have to actually make sure you're following the 3-day rule. The 3-day rule, okay, is day 1, no view content, kill it. Day 2, no add to cart, kill it. And day 3, no purchase, kill it. Okay, it's important you realize these things because when you're launching your audiences, if you're not killing audiences and being very keen to know what's doing well and what's doing poorly so you could turn it off, you're going to be spending too much money and not getting as good of an ROI as you would hope. With that being said as well, okay, the reason that we're actually looking to develop an infrastructure at first and not just scale the budget super high is because we're looking for consistency. In a business, especially e-commerce, having to do with Facebook ads, etc., where we are paying for the traffic, we want to have as much consistency and as little volatility as possible so we can stay in the green, in the profit, in the money, okay, rather than in the dirt or in the red as we scale forward. Okay, so by developing an infrastructure of 11 audiences on $5 a piece, you're allowing yourself to actually develop a proper foundation that you could begin to scale on top of, okay? Don't be that guy who scales vertical right away. Be that guy who builds out a proper consistent infrastructure or foundation first, so you actually have some long-term scalability that you're able to actually build on top of. Dave says, so we can be not profitable on day one, but start to be on day two, and so on once we kill bad ad sets. That's exactly correct, my friend. That's exactly correct. And listen, the magic of launching more than one audience at once is knowing that, hey, all of my audiences probably won't be profitable when I'm first testing and launching. In fact, your best bet is to think that all of your audiences won't be profitable, okay? Because they won't be. You'll have audiences that are doing well and audiences that are not doing so well as well. Not all audiences will be profitable, okay? And what's good here and what's good to understand is that as we launch everything, our foundation, specifically in this case, our algorithmic targeting, our goal is to trim the fat of the filet mignon steak that we are specifically cooking. Okay, that's a good way to put it, because the way that we're operating here is by trimming the fat on the sides and coming up with the most meaty, lean portion of audiences or a campaign that we possibly can. So what happens here as we trim, ROAS, aka return on ad spend, should be increasing and going up. Victor says, how big should my audiences be? You should be in between around 800K to 5 million. Your audience should be 800K to 5 million. That's the sweet spot that I love to be in to get the best CPM as well. Once you start to get some more actual consistency and some more people actually buying from you, and you start to scale the business, you get more data, you could try WOT targeting. Wide open targeting, W-O-T, WOT targeting. Literally, you're not having any interest at all, just your core 4 countries. Bart says, if we have 3 ads that we want to test, should we put them all in one ad set or give each ad its own ad set? So if you're testing, okay, I recommend to just test one at first just to see if that product gets consistency, right? If you start to get good KPIs and that product starts to scale and get you sales over and over again, then it's a good idea to go ahead and specifically test, I would say, all 3. You could test all 3 in its own specific ad set or all 3 in a dynamic creative. Okay. A lot of the time what I like to do is when I see consistency in the product and I know I want to start testing and you spending more money just to find a better actual creative, I'll create a sandbox campaign. A sandbox campaign is a new campaign created where everything inside this campaign is solely for testing purposes, whether it's my video, my ad copy on my landing page, my description, or my video. This sandbox campaign will only be used for testing, and it should be for you as well. What's important here is that you specifically have that campaign set up when you start to see consistency. You don't want to start testing crazily, okay, while you're just testing the product to see if it's going to do well. First, test lean with few assets. See if you get good KPIs. See if you can start to get some sales. Then if you start to see some consistency, maybe a few $100 a day in sales, then you switch over and create a sandbox campaign and start testing more things in there while you scale the initial campaigns that you've launched, okay, to go ahead and have higher budgeting and get more sales reoccurring as well. Okay, so after we achieve our 100 sales, okay, we're going to be moving toward our micro big bang. Okay, micro big bang, just like macro big bang, is the same thing. Micro is $1.50, macro is $5 budget. You're just using custom audiences. Okay, you're creating your custom audiences, then creating 5 to 10 lookalikes out of every custom you create. All the lookalikes that you create from your customs, we put into a micro big bang campaign at first on a $1.50 budget. Okay, your custom audiences will already be running. When you actually hit 25 sales, you start remarketing to these people as well. So at this point, you'll have your algorithmic targeting running, your duplications running, your retargeting at 25 sales, and at 100 sales, you have your micro big bang running as well. Like we've mentioned, we're developing a foundational infrastructure here. And this might sound a bit complicated, guys, a bit advanced for those of you who haven't heard this before. And those of us who are in BSF and have actually heard this is nothing but a review of exactly what works so well. So keep in mind, we developed the infrastructure so we can actually see consistency and have much less volatility as we move forward. That's why you must do everything in the exact order I have it listed here. You can actually reap the benefits of having these campaigns structured in this way, so you can actually allow yourself to have consistency and less volatility as well. Micro Big Bang, you're following based on a 5 to 8 day kill sequence, meaning you're going to cook it and not touch anything for 5 to 8 days. On day 5 to 8, then you'll start looking at the KPIs and turning off what's not doing so well in accordance with our KPI actual benchmarks. After our micro big bang is running, we're going to launch the same exact campaign, but on $5 budget. And that's what we call a big bang. Micro Big Bang is about 50 to 100 lookalikes launched from your customs on $1.50. Big Bang is the same exact audiences launched again, but just on $5 budgets. And you're also trimming the audiences that sucked in Micro Big Bang and only duplicating over the ones that did well into macro. Therefore, in macro, normal Big Bang with $5 budget, you're experiencing much higher spend, but also much higher revenue and profit because you've already trimmed off the audiences that haven't done well as well, which is super, super unique. Tyler says, hey, Justin, please, how many purchases would you recommend before we move from Micro Big Bang to Big Bang? Well, keep in mind, I only recommend to move from micro to macro. Okay, when I say macro, guys, I'm just saying normal Big Bang. You're only doing that, okay, when you're actually seeing your Micro Big Bang is profitable after that 5 to 8 day slow cook. So if you're profitable after that 5 to 8 day cook, then you move directly to the Big Bang and do the same exact thing again, my brother. Now, with that being said, also, ladies and gents, let's go ahead and talk about what happens after Big Bang. Okay, so specifically after Big Bang, what's most important here, okay, to understand is that you need to always have a vertical scale vehicle as well. Just because we have our foundation, okay, just because we have our foundation doesn't mean we're never going to go ahead and scale vertically. We actually definitely will. We scale vertically when we get to CBO. Okay, CBO is when we're scaling vertically. So we have our algorithmic campaign, our retargeting campaign, our duplications from algorithmic, our Micro Big Bang, and our Macro Big Bang. We have a lot of audiences running at once, guys, which is going to be super, super, super important. Okay, with that being said as well, we're also going to be having the CBO launched as well after the Big Bang. The CBO is the following. At first, you're only going to be launching a Micro Big Bang CBO, which means you're taking the top 5 to 8 most profitable audiences from your Micro Big Bang and then launching a CBO on a $150 budget with all those 5 to 8 audiences in that CBO as well. Okay, what that means here is in CBO, you're taking the top 5 to 8 most profitable audiences from micro, putting them into macro, and then starting it on a $150 budget and hoping for scale. Okay? Every time you see profitability after a 24-hour window in your CBO, you're simply going to be increasing the budget by a 20% window as well, guys. It's just going to be super, super, super important. Keep that in mind. Okay? After you've already exhausted all the audiences that are doing well in the Micro Big Bang into a CBO, and the CBO is profitable and is now running day-to-day profitably, you're going to run another CBO. You're going to start another CBO campaign, but take the top 5 to 8 most profitable audiences from your Big Bang, okay, and put that into the Big Bang CBO. Therefore, you'll have algorithmic running, your duplications running, your remarketing running, your micro running, your macro running, your micro CBO, and your macro CBO. If you guys could see how having an actual system like this with a farm, it's called the farm system because we're feeding off of the hundreds of micro and macro audiences, okay, which we can recycle and consistently get the same results and scale it over and over and over again because we're actually creating a foundational platform of audiences that are doing well and then exploiting them and scaling them by CBO. Now, with that being said as well, this is the farm system and it works extremely, extremely well, okay? What's important here is a few things to understand. You don't get to CBO, okay, until all of these systems are also followed and met. That's the idea here. So this is very chronological, which means you're not skipping around. It's not random, okay? This is a binary system that leads you to the end just by following the clear-cut black or white system that allows you to actually see fluently, see consistency, and less volatility because you're actually developing infrastructures and foundations before you go scale huge. People who just go straight here are going to be people who are left with banned business managers ad accounts and a business that has been operating for 2 weeks and is now broken. Keep that in mind. Doing all this in advance is the signs of a true person who wants long-term consistency, true longevity, and true consistency in their business because they care about their day-to-day consistency and not just one-day consistency, okay? That's the magic of this system, ladies and gents, and I'm so happy you guys can see that as well. The feedback you guys have been giving is amazing. Thank you so much. And honestly, thank you guys so much for the awesome feedback over the last few years as well, just by following BSF as well. It's been nothing short of phenomenal. I literally can thank you guys so much for the amazing, amazing support. You guys keep us going. You guys keep me motivated. You guys keep the team motivated to keep making things happen and to keep delivering value every single day of the week. So guys, we truly, truly thank you for the amazing support, honestly.